Welcome to Sacred Heart Cathedral in Bendigo. I'm Monsignor Marriott, the current administrator of the Cathedral and also the Vicar General of the Diocese of Sandhurst. It's Advent time when we're filming this message for Christmas season. You've already had a little glimpse of our Advent wreath, and of course we lit last Sunday the first candle, the Prophet's candle, announcing to the city the coming of the Redeemer again that we wish to celebrate in Christmas. On my right there's the Christmas giving tree, and the Christmas giving tree is a sign in our cathedral, and underneath it has various little cards, and they're an invitation to the people to pick up a card and bring that present back, which will be distributed by Vincent de Paul. Now, as well as those actions and signs and symbols around the cathedral, at the time we're taking this, the cathedral seems to be very, very empty. We recently had a visitor from Mildura. He's a very successful businessman. He owns a lot of land, he's a farmer, and he frequently comes into the cathedral when he's passing through the city. He was asked, "Why do you come in?" And he struggled for a while for a quick answer, and then he said to me, "The cathedral is so empty, but it's so full." And I think I'd like to share a little story of that with you and just take you on a journey as an invitation to come to this place, which is often empty, but is often so full of life. Our icon of Mary MacKillop was a joint project of the Cathedral and the Catholic Education Office and a few other generous donors. For many, Mary seemed to be someone whose life was very empty, and she shut herself away from a successful teaching career they thought when, as a young girl, important. But in time, her life was amazingly full, and we know that she gave to our community such a wonderful gift as the Sisters of St. Joseph, with their amazing educational standards for the 1800s. She indeed turned from being empty to being full in her love for our God, of course, but also her love for our people. In the last 2 weeks, we've just taken possession of our new icon of St. Marcelin Champagne. Again, it's a joint project amongst the people, the Marist Brothers Old Boys and the Cathedral, and it'll be hung in the Cathedral formally on the 21st of December. Again, Marcelin was a young man, and many people thought of him as having nothing much going in his life, and yet he was able to inspire a whole group of people, and they set out and created the Marist Brothers. And they've been in Bendigo for well over 100 years, and they're just building a new school, which is again a sign of hope. And again, I'd repeat that in worldly terms, many thought of Marcelin as just a pretty empty fellow with a few silly ideas in his head. And yet, today we celebrate him as a great saint of the church. Indeed, he turned from being empty and showed the fullness of his love for God, and particularly for young people, that they be educated in the Christian faith. From the first Sunday in Advent, we appeal to the different communities in Bendigo to bring an example of their own Christmas crib. When trying to encourage people to rebuild their cribs in their home. We have the Philippines in 2 different varieties, and now we've got the one from Thailand. And we're expecting again this year a beautiful crib from the Aboriginal community. Again, if you like, from a seemingly nothing in Bethlehem, a whole range of fullness has been created to fill our lives with the love of God. In the very early 1850s, a priest, whose photo is just behind me, Dr. Henry Backhouse, arrived on the goldfields, and he found a little place which is now St. Kilian's Church. And in the emptiness of that little paddock, he eventually put up a tent and started talking to the people about the love of God. Recently we've been presented with this beautiful replica of what is called the Paderborn cross. Backhouse came from Paderborn, and the relationship between the diocese and Paderborn is very strong. And it reminds us in many ways, and this beautiful cathedral reminds us, that out of that emptiness of Henry Backhouse, when he first started, wonderful things have come, and the opportunity for people again to reflect upon their faith and the faith of the goldfields, and the faith and on the goldfields impel people to do things which in many places today aren't done. We do tend to dig holes in the ground nowadays and leave them there. In another era, and Bacchus and the Paderborn cross remind us, particularly of the gift of this cathedral, but of the faith beginnings on this goldfield, which has grown into a great tree from a little mustard seed. We've journeyed round this cathedral, and I've been showing you a number of signs and symbols where, in a world sense, people often thought there was an emptiness, and yet a remarkable fullness emerged. I'm reminded we're filming this on the Feast of Francis Xavier, and he too illustrated that truth, that whereas the world thought he had nothing to offer, so many people from India through to Japan heard the word of the Lord. Our crib still today, this feast day, is empty. It's slowly being built. You will see an image of it as we end this little message of what it will be like on Christmas. You're always welcome at Sacred Heart Cathedral in Bendigo. And so I invite you to spend some time during the Christmas season to visit our crib. And as it's been filled with the story of Jesus, so allow your heart or your emptiness or whatever it might be in your life that needs filling to be filled with the goodness. After all, he did say, I've come that you may have life and have it to the full. God bless you. Hope to see you around during the Christmas season.